Okay, tape number 4, same day. Just feel like taping today, September 13th, 2011. I guess the subject that I would address in this particular presentation is happiness. Seems like every human that I've met is always looking for happiness. I think that we try different philosophies, religions, techniques, tapes we watch on TV. We join groups, group therapy, individual therapy. We buy nice things we want. We go places we want. And certainly, my experience at this age, I don't know how much older I'm going to get, but at this stage of my life, I think that there are external considerations for some happiness, because I think our happiness changes as we mature, get older, age, our children grow up, and we experience life. Certainly when we're 17, 20, 22, a nice car, and maybe being a cheerleader, and nice clothes, and a prom, and those outside external things can be very important. Nowadays it's iPods and computers and smartphones. Those things can bring a certain amount of diversion and experience in learning to be happy. We've all had the situation where we've jumped in the pool and our iPod, $200, was in our pocket. And we get some rude and crude awakenings that the happiness that we can achieve in life does not come through totally material things. We learn that at a pretty young age, but sometimes we don't practice it. We continue into our early 20s looking for the nicest house, impressing our brothers and sisters, outdoing them, buying nice clothes, winning awards and putting them on our walls, and going to college and trade schools and whatever to try to add to. I think it's a puzzle of happiness. I think it's a little bit like a jigsaw puzzle. And we put a few more pieces in the puzzle there in our 20s. Then, about mid-20s, late 20s, we end up with our children. They start coming, and it's amazing, you know, that we built and created that human being, and it's amazing that it came out of the mother and it was alive, and it's amazing that it lives on its own in our house, rent-free. And we have some introspection, some growing up and realizing there's a helpless human being now that depends on us to work and to change its diapers and to feed it and to nurture it. Children are kind of fun up to 5, 6, 7 years old, because they're amazed at us. We know everything, we do everything, we are everything in their lives. Right around 8 or 9 years old, they start to realize that mom is picking up weight, dad's hair is falling off, and some of the things that mom and dad say are not true. That adds to a little bit of our knowledge and wisdom and happiness. We start to become more capable of saying no, being rebellious, going, no, I'm not going to clean my room. And when parents insist, children can basically fold their arms and go, make me. And a lot of times you can't make them. And then as they get into the preteen age, it's kind of fun to watch them develop and watch them become interested in the boys and the girls, and go into the normal growth pattern of an adolescent. And that brings us a certain amount of joy as parents because they're on soccer teams and cheerleading squads, and we kind of relive our lives through them. And we get into our 30s, and then suddenly the marriage now is 10 years old, 15 years old, and mom is so tired and cooking meals and fixing clothes and doing all the things that she has to do to keep the family together, and dad kind of gets pushed to the side. And of course dad is in business now, and he's at the office parties, and he's got a secretary, and he's seeing these 20, 21-year-old girls, and his wife's now 35, 38. And there can be, again, an introspection on happiness. Am I happy? Would I be happier with this younger girl? And I'm sure that the women think the same things. He's kind of getting a belly on him, and his hair's falling out, and he's not as funny and as cute as he used to be when he was on the football team. And there comes a trial period there where I think we go through some speed bumps in our life to really evaluate, am I happy? I think we then start to question our occupation, our trade. Am I really happy? Can I do better? I've worked my whole life, gone to school, and this is all I get. I think that there's some reevaluation, maybe regret, maybe remorse, that we are who we are. And I think sometimes we try to evade and avoid those feelings and those speed bumps. Some men go into a second childhood, buy a Corvette convertible and a hairpiece, and go racing around town looking for young girls, and of course many times their hairpiece falls off in the wind. Women join Weight Watchers and buy $10,000 worth of gym equipment, which is in the basement. It's been used for 1 or 2 days, and now it sits there, and she continues to eat ice cream and become overweight. And both sexes tend to be inactive and kind of growing towards middle age and hitting the edges of old age. I think then the kids grow up. I think that the empty nest syndrome is an important part of a woman's happiness and transition. I think she looks back and lives her life a little bit through how well have my children done. Are they divorced? I'm a grandma now. I'm trying to learn to be the best grandma that I can. And then I think you enter into that pre and retirement age where you go, gee, I've been to school, I've only made this amount of money, my house isn't as big as everybody else, and I have a nice car, but it's certainly not a Lamborghini. And the wife wonders, should I marry the other guy on the football team, and would I have been more happy? And then I think to kind of to summarize what I'm trying to say here, happiness. Is it the same for each person? I'm not sure that it is. We have one word for it, maybe joy, happiness, contentment. Maybe we have 5 or 8 different words that are close to it. But I think there comes a point, and many times it comes with sickness, disability, divorce, ill health, the death of a loved one. Many times there's events in our lives that have us stop and take a look. Where am I? Is this where I wanted to be? Is this happiness? Have I lived most of it, and am I satisfied with it? And I think there comes a point, at least there has been in my life, maybe others, I don't know, where we've lived our whole lives for other people. Our husbands, our wives, our kids, and in this family situation, the Mormon Church, we've lived by what they expect us to say, do, believe, eat, underwear, where we are on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And I do think that we, at least me, have reached an age where I go, wait a minute, how many years do I have left, and am I happy? How do I want to spend those years? What are my standards? What are my desires and goals and dreams? And I think some of this came with me having a quadruple bypass surgery. I sat in a hospital bed alone, and I evaluated, do I believe in Jesus? Do I believe that He's going to help me in this operation? Do I want to survive? Will I survive? Will I be a vegetable? Etc. And I think there was kind of a turning point there. There's been several others in my life, but that was a major turning point. And being old LDS, I began to think, gee, maybe I should pray to Jesus. I'm going to be in the operating room here in 2 or 3 minutes, and maybe I need Jesus to help me. And then I began to evaluate, and of course, being bipolar, we can run that back through our minds, not so much memory as it is events. We can run back the feelings, what was said, what wasn't said, and actually change the angles of the situation. And I thought, what has Jesus done for me? I've never seen Him. He never talked to me. And I've always been taught in the Mormon church, if He says no, then that's His will. If He says nothing, then that's His will too. And if we get it, that's His will. And I'm saying to myself, wait a minute. How much control do I really have with this Jesus being? Did He take any tests for me at BYU? No. Did He pay any tuition? No. Did He ride the motorcycle in the snow to get the master's degree? No. Did He pay for any of my kids to be raised? No. Did He make rent payments? No. I'm saying to myself, gee, if He hasn't done anything for me to this point, why would He do anything for me in the next 3 or 4 minutes? And I decided He wouldn't. And so I kind of came to a peace and a conclusion and a joy that, hey, if I die, I die. If I live, I live. It'll be between my health and the doctor's skill level. And Jesus can be off watching 6,000 of His children die of starvation every day on this planet. Certainly He has the money to pay child support. He's a king. He owns everything. But He lets His children starve. And then you, who judge, say to those of us who have not been able to pay all the child support all the time in the quantity and proportions that you think we should have paid. But we're not gods. We don't own the universe. And you get angry with us, and yet your Jesus allows the starvation, the torment and torture of millions and millions of His brothers and sisters. What's wrong with that picture? So I lay there in the hospital and I go, well, if it goes, it goes. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Well, here I am sitting here, basically because of the skill of the surgeon that opened my chest up and cut veins out of my leg and bypassed the arteries that were clogged. So I have found in my life, at the end of my life now, going into the twilight, sunset of my life, that joy and happiness is a combination and a culmination of everything we can remember. Some things worked good for us. Some things were a disaster. So we put away the disasters. We try to remember the good things. We try to recreate the good things. And for me, belonging to a cult for 50 years has taken a lot of intelligence and a lot of courage and a lot of endurance and a lot of study to break myself away from that thinking and living my life for other people. I live my life basically now for one person, me. Certainly my wife, I have obligations there, and my grown children and my 2 minor children. I don't live my life for them, but I certainly realize that I have responsibilities and duties and obligations there. But I think that a man and a woman comes to a point where we go, this is what makes me happy. And you know what? Sitting in front of this camera, I don't have to look at children rolling their eyes and ex-wives doing this, and I don't have to do that anymore. I can just sit here and talk to myself. And frankly, I enjoy that. It's my favorite person. I never argue with myself. I never roll my eyes, and I'm never unhappy. Everything I say and I do, I look back on the computer and go, yeah, I believe that. So in conclusion and summary here on this tape, I would just like to say I hope all of you find your happiness. I don't know if anything that I've said here is helpful, but I've lived over 6 decades, and I've seen a lot of things. I have a lot of kids. I've been married many times. I've had a lot of jobs. I have a lot of education. And so I am in a position, for at least myself, to judge what makes me happy. I'm sitting here on the couch looking out at the beautiful day, nice scenery, beautiful camera, nice house. I have $2 in my pocket to buy a Coke, peace, kids at school. This makes me happy. I don't need a Jesus. I like the things that are attributed to him as far as the principles that he says to live by. I have no problem with those things. But a man that walks on water and is resurrected, but you can't find him, and he goes through walls than when he had doors that he could have gone through, and fed people 6 loaves of bread in the thousands. You know, once I've been fooled by the Mormon Church for so long, I'm not going to be fooled by Christianity. If there is this Jesus man, have him show himself. Have him speak to us. Have him feed his children and bring comfort and peace to all of us. And if he can't do that, I don't want to live with him anywhere. Wait, this is a parent that needs parenting classes and needs to pay some child support. That's how I see it. Thanks. Bye.